Hi, and welcome to the ArtsyFartzy Club. My name is Mrs. Johnson, and I'm really excited that you're here with me today. It is the beginning of the school year here, and lots of elementary teachers like to do a project involving the book Chester's Way. Now, Chester's Way is a really good book for the beginning of the year because it talks about how this particular child or mouse is very set in his ways, and he has his best friend that they do the same things all the time the same way. But then somebody new comes in and she's kind of different. Well, the story's about friendship and acceptance, and it's really awesome because at the beginning of the year when we're meeting new people, we want to learn how to be accepting and good friends, right? So this project is going to kind of go on that idea of how Chester and Wilson were very much the same, and their new friend Lily was a little different. So if you need to, if you are one of my students, you're going to want to catch this story, and we're going to play it through Storyline Online. But if you're a teacher and you don't need the read aloud, I will catch you on the flip side. And welcome back. So what did you think about that story? I love that one. And I especially love that they do sign language. I find myself watching her sometimes more than the illustrations. But I think it's a great story talking about how being different can be a strength, right? If everyone was the same, then the world would be a very dull, dull place, right? So let's get into our project. I'm really excited. And I hope that you appreciate how we're going to make Chester and Wilson the same and Lily different. So let's dive in. Okay, so the materials you're going to need is a pile of 3 by 4.5 inch squares, and you will need a minimum of 2. But when I do it for my students, I just cut a whole bunch and leave a pile on the table. And you're going to want to use tempera paint. Now, I'm using acrylic paint because that's what I have in the studio, but tempera paint will take longer to dry. And that is what we want in this particular case. So I used a brown, a red, and a white. Your shade of brown can be different. That's perfectly fine. And red and white are pretty basic. And for my brush, I'm using a flathead 5/8 inch. Use what you have. It doesn't have to be round or flat in particular, but I do recommend that you do have a flat brush. I find that making the shapes is a little bit easier. It doesn't really matter, but I really recommend that you do have a small brush because you always can paint it bigger, but this project will be hard if your brush is too large. And I have a bowl of water. I have a glue stick, a pencil, some colored pencils, and scrap paper. And I'm ready to go. Oh, and most important, I like to give a selection of papers. I'm just using a 9 by 12. And since we are using red for our base color there, I would pick one of the cool colors. It sets up your students for success. So if you are one of my students, go ahead and pick green, blue, or purple. What I would not do is black. Even though it is a contrasting color to the red probably won't stand out very nicely on the black because it's so strong of a color. It's so dark. So any one of these will work. And then the first thing that we are going to do is fold our paper in half like a book. Okay, once I have those edges lined up, and let's go ahead and zoom into our art so you can see better. All right. So I folded it like a book and I open it up. So now I have a line of symmetry down the center of my art. And what this is going to allow me to do is to make it the same on both sides. So we're going to go step by step, follow along. I also have my handy dandy art rag. You are going to want a rag or a paper towel to be able to do this project. Makes it a little bit easier when we go to change colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is grab some of that red. And I am going to make my character off to the side because I need room for Chester, Lily, and Wilson. So I'm going to start by making a arch shape going from the bottom up and work quickly. I would even get a little bit of water on your brush because we want that paint to stay wet. And now remember, I'm using the acrylics. Acrylics are really hard because they dry so quickly and they become like a layer of plastic, thus called acrylic, right? And that will not help me on this project. All right, so I've got a good little size bump there. And I'm going to go ahead and fold my paper back over and I'm going to rub on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Once I feel like I've transferred, I'm going to peel it carefully. And see, you can see that my paint was already starting to dry there. And that makes it not transfer it very nicely. I could even double coat it if I need to. Okay, but do use that tempera, guys. That'll help you out a bunches. Quickly. There we go. That one's a little bit better. Oh, I just got paint on my fingers. Mrs. Johnson. I must have, oh, it's on my paintbrush, silly lady. Okay. Let's clean that off. We don't want that getting all over our artwork. Sad face. It already is. Okay, so here we go. We're going to mix our tan with some of our white. So I'm going to grab from the edge of my white because I don't want to ruin all of my white paint. Mix. And I do want kind of, because I'm using that acrylic, I'm going to get my brush wet. I really want it to be wet. If you're using tempera, your paint should be wet enough. But if you find that it's drying like mine and you're having a hard time, then you can adjust that. Okay, so we're going to make kind of a sideways egg shape for our head. This is Wilson or Chester's head. Working quickly. And make sure it's coming to a point. Okay, and then fold 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And lift. Ta-da. Okay, it transfers. That is good. That is what we want. Working quickly. Ear. Oh, I can cover that up with my ear. Word. Thank goodness. Okay. Ear, other ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ta-da. So check it out, guys. Except for where it started to glue. But so now I have Chester and Wilson, and they are the same. The last thing I'm going to do on my Chester or my Wilson, I am going to make, well, last two things actually. I'm going to make his pink in his ear. So I'm going to take some of the red, grab from the edge of your white, mix. Can you see? Yes. Okay. Getting my brush a little wet. Okay, I've got a nice pink there. And then nice and wet, paint the pink into his ear. And I'm going to paint a little one over here. All right, transfer. Ta-da. Okay, Chester, Wilson, Wilson, Chester. Last but not least, I said there was 2 more steps. Got the pink, wash off my brush, wipe. And I'm going to grab that tan again. And I am going to put an arm coming out. Not putting any details, just making it easy. And transfer. Ta-da! All right. Chester and Wilson looking the same on both sides. I'm going to set that aside to dry. And I'm going to start making Lily. I'm going to set aside my paint. I don't need that now. All right. So I need 2 of those white 4.5 by 3 inch cards. And I don't really have to draw the first one. The first one's going to be the body. And to make that really easy, like I'm just going to cut a big arch. And just in case, oh, reminder for my friends, thumb goes in the little hole, fingers go in the big hole. My thumb is pointed up at the ceiling, always. And my left hand is doing all the turning. So I'm cutting away. Let that hand do all the work. Bam. Okay. So just an arch shape. And now I'm going to draw Lily's head. So I'm going to do about, it's over halfway, so maybe 2/3 of the way. I'm going to draw that egg shape with a pointed nose, right? And then it's kind of like an oval, half of an oval. Ear, ear, okay? Now, when I go to cut this out, I'm not cutting into the head. I'm just cutting the outside shape, okay? So your thumb goes in the little hole. Your fingers go in the big hole. Your thumb is pointed up at the ceiling. Let that left hand do the work. I'm just doing these alligator chomps. Chomp, chomp, chomp. Feed that alligator the paper. So you make sure you keep putting it back in as the alligator opens its mouth. Push that paper to the back. Okay. Now, when I get to this point, I stop at that ear. So then I can pivot and turn it inside my scissors. And that's going to create that angle that I need. If that's too hard, you can actually take your scissors out. You could come back in and snip if that makes cutting into that triangle shape easier. Neither way is wrong or right. You do what you feel comfortable with that you can do successfully and give you good craftsmanship, right? All right. So then what I would do is take my glue. I'm going to glue it into the center. And there's a reason why. Don't glue the edges yet. And across the bottom. Line it up with the bottom of your paper. Okay. Find our Lily's head. I like to glue on the object I'm going to glue down, not where I think it's going to go. And we're going to glue that on the top. All right, Chester, Wilson, Lily, she needs hands because they're all friends, right? So one of those extra pieces of paper, I guess actually you need 3, or you can use the scraps, which in fact, I just might do, just to show that you can do it, because that's probably what I would have done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the arms. It's folded, if you hadn't noticed. And that makes me have 2 Oh, that one had a weird shape. Trim, trim. Okay. So glue it down. Stick it into that space. I want her to hold hands with Chester. And I want her to hold hands with Wilson. There we go. Friends forever. Love it. All right. Now I'm going to put that one aside just because for the sake of time. Okay. So this is all dry. It's ready to go. Now I would have scrap papers at the table, colored pencils or crayon or marker, your choice. But now we can start decorating Lily. We can give her a crown. We can give her a mask. We can give her whatever our imagination can come up with, because your imagination is your only limitation, my friends, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take a scrap of this, and I want to make a crown. Now you can draw your shapes on there. You can freehand cut whatever you want, because now this is the time for you to shine. This is the time for you to be creative. Make it however you want. There we go. Starting with that. Okay, I can put on her shirt. I can draw on her shirt. Let's see. I want to make her. Let's think. We've got lines. I could do lines. I can do shapes. I can. Zigzag. And make my line thick by coming back. Now I could make the requirement that there can't be any white showing where her shirt is. I might do that. All right. So once I have her shirt colored in, I can add some costume decorations. I can, let me think, what am I going to add? She wore a polka dot shirt at one point in the story, right? She was unique. I don't know if you can hear my little one in the background. All right. Let's see. Maybe some purple. Okay, I've got some of my scrap paper here. Got an idea. Let's doing 3 strips. 2 of the strips, I'm going to cut fringe at the bottom. Come on. Want those fringes to fringe. Makes it more fun. All right, we're going to glue this on, and now she has a fabulous scarf because she is fun like that. I could give her sunglasses. I could give her, I don't know, a scepter. She can have some sort of, she could have a squirt gun in her hand. Whatever is clever. Can definitely put pink in her ear. And then I can add in the eyes. I could do just the one. I think we'll probably get away with that. Do them for Chester, and last but not least, I could make Chester and Wilson. I could make their shirts have that C and that W, or I can just leave it as is. I might just go ahead. I'm going to do that. Here's my Chester, and here's my Wilson. And oh, maybe add a little pink for their nose. Boop, boop, boop. And there you go, guys. We did it. We made our Chester's Way inspired artwork. So Chester and Wilson are a reflection of each other over that line of symmetry, making them the same on both sides. They are just reflecting across that line. So Chester and Wilson like to do everything the same, but we made sure that Lily was special and unique in the center. But even though they are different, they're all friends, right? And they're going to hold hands. Now, this would integrate really great in a cross-curricular activity. You can write a nice story about what it means to be a good friend, what makes you special and different than your friends, right? What are some things you could do? A compare and contrast, some things that you guys like to do the same and some things that you like that are different. Your imagination, once again, is your only limitation. I would love to see what you come up with. And if you are a teacher, I would love to know that this inspired you to do it in your classroom. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, make sure that you like this video and subscribe. It really helps me out. I am trying for that 1,000 goal, right? Everybody wants to hit that 1,000 subscribers, and every little bit helps. It really keeps me moving on and going on and bringing you more of these great art lessons. So if you enjoy what I'm doing, please let me know down in the comments. I had a really sweet comment the other day from a brand new teacher, and he said he's using one of my lessons in his kindergarten room. That's exciting. That really makes this all worthwhile. So, hey, if this is your first time here, you are now officially an ArtsyFartzy Club member. Yay! You're part of the club. And my name is Mrs. Johnson. If nobody's told you today, I absolutely love you. And I hope until we see each other again, you're 100% artastic.